be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook off great football players, showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, good evening, sports fans. It's Wednesday night again, and here you are on DFS Advisor. Got Jimbo's here and got my good friend Rob, Nerf Herders on Sleeper. Rob's decided to come on the show, been bugging him for a while to get on. He finally got a chance to get on, and so just want to introduce Rob to you guys. He's a guest on the show, and so we're going to have some fun tonight and talk a little bit about the draft. We're going to talk a little bit about some news, some rumors. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk some basketball. We're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. We got some Jimbo's hot takes toward the end. Buy and sell trade with your fantasy leagues. We're going to talk a little bit about something we're doing with a contest in a couple of our inner circle leagues. We're going to talk about that. But to kick the show off, like always, I want to talk and thank our sponsors. I want to thank Premier Properties, Steve and Nikki. Thanks for everything you're doing. The Freaky Tiki Norm, here in Hernando Beach, he takes people out on his boat, watches the sunset, does some drinking, turns on sports, does some swimming, does some wakeboarding, does all kinds of fun stuff. Thanking J.R. Lewis, our musician, in-house musician, helps us with some of our parody stuff. Helps us with some of our videos that we're doing. I want to thank U-Haul Moving and Storage. Want to thank Brooksville Seafood. Want to thank Tailgater Deluxe and my wife for everything they're doing with our charity, with taking sports tailgating to not so fortunate folks that are going through struggles, whether they're on hospice care, dealing with cancer or injuries, young disabled kids and stuff like that. Also want to thank St. Pete Theater and Diner Club, and want to thank Ring Power Heavy Equipment Rental. So some new ones there coming on and helping us as we grow. Looking forward to that. So we're going to talk a little bit of news, and we'll talk of get this out of the way. We want to congratulate the Michigan Wolverines for their NCAA championship in the brackets. They win that game 69-63. Michigan, they came on just steady through the tournament, just steady. They weren't, the big favorite. A lot of people thought that, Arizona would have gave them a lot harder walk there in the Final Four, but that didn't happen. And Michigan prevailed and takes another championship back home up to Michigan. So congratulations to the Wolverines. Also want to throw a shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have clinched their playoff spot where they're in the playoffs. So congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning for clinching. We'll see what they can do over here at Benchmark. They've had a couple rough nights here lately, but Hedman's still on injured reserve. But Radish has been kicking ass and taking names. I hope the Lightning find a way to definitely keep him, in the fray. So we want to make sure and try to keep him. He's going to cost a little bit, but he's a good defenseman. So we're looking forward to the Lightning rolling into the playoffs. We're getting close to the NBA MVP. Now, I'm a big Wemby fan. I just think Wemby's a way better overall player, but I definitely think SGA is going to win the MVP with Oklahoma City. What do you think on that, Rob? You a basketball fan?
I'm not. I haven't watched. I used to watch the finals every year, but it's been a while.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I started with basketball. I'm a big hockey fan. I'm into hockey. Don't really watch college basketball until the tournament. During the regular season, I don't really pay attention to it. Same with baseball.
Yeah. I mean, I've got NBA Jam, so I'm still playing. I'm still playing the Chicago Bulls with Scottie Pippen from the 90s.
And I'm not a real big baseball fan. I'm getting more and more into it just because of my ties to the Tampa Bay media. So I'm really starting to force myself to get involved and know who's on first, who's on second.
I should probably know more about the Hawks when good luck to Tampa Bay to Lightning for hockey. We in Atlanta, we lost the Thrashers to Winnipeg a while ago, and it was always managed by a investment group. So then we never got any decent draft picks when we were in the running.
Yeah.
But I do love the NBA now. Don't get me wrong. I just haven't watched lately. But I mean, I know about the rise of Steph Curry, and the game's changed a lot. So.
Well, as you know, last week we kind of plugged the Tampa Bay opening day was on Monday. They had a great day. It was a great opening day. It was great for town. It was a great healing experience for everybody that was involved in the Hurricanes with the loss of the Trop. Having to play at Steinbrenner Field and just getting back in the Trop was amazing. The emotions were flowing. Packed house, did a great job. The upper deck was still closed off, but pretty much filled it, 20-some thousand. It was a great day, and they won, so everybody walked away from it. And then, of course,
that's always good. That's always good. I mean, it's.
Yep. So it was great healing. Then last night, I don't know if any of you guys caught this, but this was hilarious. The Cubs are in town, and this poor dude, the Rays getting their ass beat, and late in the game, this dude goes up to get a foul ball, and he's got a pair of sweatpants on. I mean, his sweatpants came down, his underwear came down. Yeah. This poor son of a bitch, he's laying on the ground right there with his ass up in the air for the whole world to see. So I hope he's smart enough to not run from it and hide, but he can probably make some money off it. Probably, get himself a suspender account or, a belt deal with somebody, who knows. But that was kind of funny. That made some big news. Yeah.
It goes by quick.
That was kind of funny. We got the NFL draft coming up, you guys. It's getting close. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready to do some of your drafting, in your leagues, your fantasy football leagues. Who do you take? Who do you not take? Do you got the 101? Do you got the 110? Where are you at drafting? Who should you be taking? Who are you concentrating on?
What kind of league do you have? Scoring?
Yeah, whether it's redraft or whether you're drafting all at once or you got separate rookie drafts. So, especially when you're doing that, if you enter these drafts where you have a separate rookie draft, it's a little more cut and dry on what you can do. But, strategy-wise, you really got to think about it, especially in a redraft where everybody is drafting rookies and vets. Got to kind of really understand what rookies are going to get playing time and which ones aren't. That's a big thing in redraft is figuring out who you're gonna draft as far as a rookie goes, because you just don't know their landing spots. And a lot of guys draft before the NFL draft. A lot of the old school guys, a lot of your big gamblers in fantasy, they tend to wait till after the draft. I know we have some of our inner circle drafts that are going to be drafting the same time that the draft starts. We're gonna delay it a little bit and let the draft get going. We're gonna wait and start those drafts after round one, so it'll give you kind of a good idea of where you're at. You got a lot of drafts getting ready to start, Rob?
Yes.
You got a lot of drafts getting ready to start.
So I've got 30 leagues. I've been an orphans this year. I didn't have any last year for FPC. I played the highest dynasty leagues that I played in were 350 a year. I think I had about 12 of those at one point, working my way up from smaller leagues. Right now, I'm kind of sticking to the $50 to $100 range.
Right. Yeah, I kind of like the $50, $100 range. It kind of gets the little bit more serious guys that are used to playing fantasy and stuff like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the draft tonight, you guys.
Well, and it's good. It's good for getting back into it for sure.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft coming up. Some news that happened this week. Mendoza is not going to attend the draft in person. He's not going to be there. He's decided he's going to stay home with his family. If you know anything about Mendoza, his mom is not real healthy, wheelchair bound. So I don't know if those are the decisions, but I respect it. I think from a standpoint, Now she did go to the Heisman Awards where he won the Heisman, but they're not going to be at the draft. I just wonder, how the NFL looks at not having their shiny little toy guaranteed first rounder, guaranteed to be the first overall at this point. We really don't know for sure, but it's pointing that the Raiders are going to take him at number 1 overall. So I'm sure the NFL, ESPN, all these guys that are going to have their stories are going to have to come up with something else to talk about because Mendoza's not going to be there. What do you think about that, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably have to put packages together ahead of time. And, I'm sure they're going to – it would seem like he would have cameras at the house because there's a lot of picks, a lot of guys that stay at home do that now.
Yeah.
Where they have the cameras at home. I think that's great if his mother's in poor health, and obviously he wants to share the moment with her, boo-hoo for Roger Goodell. He doesn't get to shake a hand and hold up a jersey. I don't really care about, everybody's going to be booing him anyway, as they usually do.
Right. And then some of the other guys we're going to talk about, moving into the draft. I was going to highlight some guys that are, not big names, maybe late round 1, maybe second round, third round, but some guys I kind of would like, to kind of highlight, and maybe you guys keep your eyes on them because we know you got your Loves and, your Mendozas and your Tates.
Shiny 3 receivers.
Yeah, all these guys. So we're going to take a look at some of these guys to kind of keep an eye on and see where you think. Now, in the quarterback realm, this guy made a big splash at Vanderbilt. He's a smaller guy, not real small, but smaller guy, good running quarterback. During the combine, if you looked, he looked real small, but, he's not real small. I like his aggressiveness. I like his toughness. He's kind of cocky. Be interesting to see where Diego Pavia lands. The kids from Vanderbilt, they had a good year. He I think was runner up at the Heisman. So
oh wow,
does this guy even get drafted? Some people don't even think. A lot of people think he's going to go undrafted. I look for him to probably be a 6th round pick in the draft. I still think somebody's going to take a chance on a running quarterback, a guy that's got an attitude, a guy that's aggressive. I look to see this guy in round 6.
Yeah, and some people have him pegged higher than that, it looks like. So
yeah.
5'10", 207 pounds. So, definitely coming from the Russell Wilson, Drew Brees sort of angle.
This guy had – Rob, he had 378 pass attempts. He completed 267. This is last year. 267 completions with a 70.6% completion rate. The guy had 3,539 passing yards, 29 TDs. He carried the ball 167 times for 862 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. He only threw 8 interceptions and was sacked 23 times. So, he's got good stats in 2025. It's no wonder he was a runner-up in the Heisman. So, I truly think he's going to get drafted.
And that alone's got to put him on somebody's map, runner-up for the Heisman.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams that don't really want to claim they're in a rebuild year. We're going to talk a little bit more about rebuilds a little later in the show, but I definitely think he's going to get picked up. So
some people were saying some analysts are saying as early as the 3rd.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see where he falls. And then I've been promising you guys I wanted to talk about running backs. Outside of Love, this is probably I'm hung up between Price and Washington. Washington being from Arkansas, Price being the teammate to Love. Now, if you look at Price's stats, they don't jump off and grab you. But if you watched him play, he's a good, number 2 back. I think, could he be a number 1 in the NFL? I truly believe he could. It would definitely take the right landing spot. I don't look for him to start this year in the NFL, but I do look for a team that is looking for a solid number 2, a guy that could jump in and play if need be, if there's an injury. I think that, Jordan Price is that type of guy. This guy, He ran a 4.4 in the 40 at the combine. Last year, he had 113 carries for 674 yards, 11 TDs, 6 receptions, only 87 yards receiving, and 2 TD receiving yards. So, if you look at some of the traits with this guy, he's not a bull power runner, but he is a strong lower body runner, and has the strength of the upper body to get rid of people. He's a decent pass blocker, and the dude has elite vision running through the line. I mean, he is a very aware running back, very smart. So how do you feel about Price? Have you done any looking at him?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I definitely have. So, kind of from the outset with, we've got Love as kind of the center of the universe. Price has always been, the running back too, but with the caveat that there's a gulf between him and Love. And after seeing everybody else go through the combine process and the interviews and everything else, I still think for me it's Price and Coleman are my if I have to pick RB2 and RB3, I really like both of those guys. But I can always see I definitely see the case for Jadarian Price. He's more dynamic than Jonah Coleman is. Jonah Coleman might be more of a safer pick, but that guy also reminds me of what's his name? Doug Martin, the old muscle hamster that used to play for the Bucks. Yep. And but for Price has an actual 3-down set. I mean, like he could be a 3-down back with a little bit of development coming into the NFL. And what I've seen some people talking about when it comes to something that would really rocket his stock is if the Minnesota Vikings or the Seattle Seahawks were to take him, then he could move up in the rookie drafts from just being kind of a late first-round pick, kind of in the mud with
a lot of people got him going to the Seahawks.
So if that happens, then then he's going to be the number 6 pick in Superflex and probably number 5 in single quarterback, or at least in a lot of leagues, because the running back scarcity is just so high. You're going to have people reaching for even if he's a second-round running back, people are probably going to still jump to grab him even over some of the first-round wide receivers, which didn't really work out for some people with picks like Caleb Johnson last year.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it last week. I'd like to see Najee Harris end up at the Seahawks. I'm a big Najee fan.
I've got him. I've got him as a free agent, just sitting on a couple of different teams, waiting for him to get signed.
I think that'd be a good landing spot for him.
I think that or Thunder and Lightning with the Raiders.
Yeah, could be. I know he's interviewing with them too. So
yeah, no, I like Price a lot though.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about this guy. Now, in the beginning of coming off the end of the college football year, this guy was real high up. He was in the conversations with your, Tates and your Lemons and this Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. This guy ended up last year with 61 receptions, 711 yards, and 8 TDs. So he's kind of a taller guy. I think he's 6'2", something like that. I don't know where this guy lands. I didn't watch a lot of Arizona State football, and I don't have him in any of my Devy leagues. So it'd be interesting to see where this guy goes. Does he go in the first round? I don't think so. I think you're going to see some surprises. I definitely think, Tate, guys like Boston, are going to go in the first round. But a lot of guys got him going in the first round. I don't know.
Yeah, so some of them I've heard that, or at least looking at some of the tape. I've got a subscription with a certain site that has all the tape on different guys, and like I've watched most of the tape on Mekhi Lemon, for instance, and I've watched some of the other guys. And with Tyson, doesn't always play to his size necessarily, and a lot of people have think he has issues maybe with that third level. He's more of an intermediate guy. So I don't know, but he's got the body and the speed for it. So, he's going to be a little bit of a project for whoever it is that gets him, because, the injuries took him off the field a little bit, throughout his collegiate career. And then that's the other concern is the injury history. But
and guys, if you guys don't see us touch on certain players, we still got a couple weeks to the draft. We're going to be highlighting on our Wednesday and Saturday night shows. We'll be bringing some of these other guys up, giving you our thoughts, our opinions on them, which doesn't really mean much. It's just our opinions, but to kind of preview who you think is going to go where. So it's getting to be exciting times. You guys know I'm a big ADP guy. I'm big into defense. And I really like to look at defensive players in the draft, especially from, a fan standpoint, number one, especially like down here with the Bucks. Now, this dude, Jermon McCoy, the guy was injured in 2025, out with an ACL tear all last year. So if you look at his 24 stats, I mean, he wasn't blasting off, the stat sheet, 44 tackles, 26 of those solo, 18 assisted. Guy had 4 interceptions. He's cornerback for Tennessee. Guy's 6'1", 193 pounds, and fast. I mean, coming off his injury, and then at the combine runs a 4.3. So, I mean, this dude is off the chain. I think he would make the Bucks a good pickup. I really want to see the Bucks go edge rusher before they would do this, but I would not be surprised if Jason Light at 15, if this guy's still sitting there, that he goes. But just another guy, not the number one pick in the draft as far as cornerbacks go, but somebody I think would make a really good starting cornerback. This guy can start in the NFL.
And it looks like he's got that first round draft capital pretty locked down. I'm seeing top 15, top 20.
Yeah, he falls right in line with the Bucks picking at 15. I think Jason Light, I mean, I'm so disappointed with the offseason free agency signings that the Bucks did. For Christ's sake, they picked
Same
up
here with the Steelers.
Yeah, they picked up David Sills from Atlanta. I mean, the guy's a nothing wide receiver. What are we doing paying a guy a 1-year contract? I've heard a lot of talk, don't even know if he'll make 53-man roster, this Stills guy from Atlanta. But I honestly think that they did it from a standpoint of bringing in somebody that knows, the Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator that they hired from Atlanta.
The system.
I think that's why they brought him in, is to kind of help the wide receivers, maybe help get familiar with what Zach's going to do from an offensive coordinator standpoint. But just some of the moves that Jason Light has made in the offseason from a free agency standpoint just blows me away. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bucks trade down and just go after dart throws. I don't know what they're going to do, but it'll be interesting. I think you're going to see some movement in round 1. I think you're going to see an early trade in the draft, somebody wanting to get up into that first round. I know there's been talk of, the Dolphins trading down. There's been some talk of, even the Cardinals trading down. I don't think the Cardinals can afford to do it, but I know I've seen some things you've put down. You think Arizona is going to trade down?
Yeah, so I think Arizona just trying to turn that pick into value for the draft. This is a really thick draft when it comes to defensive talent. So if they don't want to concentrate it all in one guy, a trade with the Cowboys I think would be most likely, because Jerry Jones is the guy that loves to trade up, and I think he's got his eye on I gotta find it here, David Bailey, and if they took the 12 and the 20 plus another pick, probably I think it was like 90 something from the Cowboys in exchange for the third pick, then the Cardinals could still get defensive end Bain Jr.
Right.
They could still get him, and Cowboys could move up. So that's one of the ones that's rumbling around. I see a lot of other trades from other people. When I see potential trades from the Cowboys, those jump out at me, because usually that's Jerry Jones talking through the media.
This player right here from Texas Tech, Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker. This dude, I don't know if any of you guys have watched this guy play, but this guy is a beast, man. He reminds me of Troy Polamalu, that was, a safety, a cornerback position all over the place. How Troy was in the backfield, and just all over. This is how this guy plays, Jacob
like a chess
Rodriguez.
piece.
If you get a chance to watch any of his 2025 tape, watch it. This dude is impressive. He is a beast. He's great in pass coverage, interceptions like up the yin yang in the backfield. I hope, if Tampa Bay can't find a good guy to replace Levante David, I don't think the dude that they brought in from Anzalone from Detroit is the answer. This guy right here is a beast, man.
And that's pretty good. He's got a pretty good 40 time for being 231.
Yeah, he does. He's fast. He's quick. He's got great hands. This guy actually played quarterback. So
yeah.
he's a smart guy. He's intelligent. He's fast. Looks great on the football field. So this is a guy to watch at linebacker. That could surprise some people. He's definitely a round 2 pick in my book. I don't think you'll see him go in round 1, but I definitely would be looking this guy up on day 2 and day 3. He's going to get drafted. So I'm excited about him. All right. Something in baseball that made some headlines this week. Joe Dell, this guy stole 3 home runs from the Mariners. I mean, over the wall, spectacular tightrope catches. And he not only did it once, he not only did it twice, he did it 3 times. However, the third one he had to go over the wall. His momentum to catch the ball took him over the wall. So, he was totally on the other side of the fence when he brought the ball up to show that he caught it. Now, if you look at his mitt while he was making the catch, he pretty much, you could see he had the ball in possession of the ball the whole time. However, it's brought up a lot of controversy on how these plays should be made. Now, I know Sam Cohen, local radio guy down here, he made a big deal out of this, and I agree with Sam Cohen. I really think that the MLB needs to come up with, do these guys have to stay in play when they make the catch? It's okay for their arm to go over and catch it, but do you think they should stay inbounds, in play? Their feet have to, after they come down, they have to land with the ball in play. I think so. I don't think it's right for them to be able to go over the wall, extend the playing field to make a catch, whether it's a home run, whether it's a foul ball. When these guys are catching foul balls out of play, I don't think, Jeter did it once where he actually went through and up into the stands to make the catch. And I don't think that's right. I don't think they should do that. I think they should have to stay and play with their body. If the mitt and the arm goes over the fence to make the catch, I think that's okay. I think it adds excitement for the fan that way, but I just think there has to be something done to keep these guys in play to make it a legal play.
Yeah, I agree. And, with him going over the wall, that to me is just that's just a bridge too far. You're talking, you got to have cameras back there, to see the play. Like you said you could see it in his glove, but you still don't know, for sure. And like you said, it's I don't know. I think that's, at that point, it's silly. I can remember some great plays at Turner Field with like Otis Nixon would basically climb the wall in the late 90s or mid 90s for the Braves and make some insane catches, but you never went over. Like a barrier or something. And
there's some guys that are claiming that they want to see cameras that kind of like what you would have in the NFL with the end zone, that if the ball breaks a plane. A lot of guys are even pushing for cameras to be put into place to where if the ball breaks the plane of the wall, that it's an automatic home run. Now, I don't think they should go that far with it.
No, I don't think so either.
But I do think that they need to be able to stay in play and not expand the field of play by allowing them to go out of play to make the play. And that's just kind of my feelings on it. It was, it was kind of a big thing on a lot of sports.
Like this, where he's positioned right now. Where he's positioned right now over the, like if he had caught it right there and then come back down into the field of play.
I think that's fair.
With the ball, that's fair.
Right, but he didn't. He actually went ass over teacup, went into the stands and was standing in the fan zone when he.
And that's out of the field of play at that point.
Right. That's out of the field of play. All righty. Let's switch gears and get back to another big story this week. This one right here. The big hub-a-tub hug, the big kiss, the big hand-holding situation, running off 150 miles away to meet up with an alleged affair took place. Allegedly. Mike Vrabel.
And that's the real picture?
With Deanna Rossini. So both of these are high-profile people, head coach of a Super Bowl playing team, and she is in the spotlight in the media. I don't know what to think about all this, but it ain't good. They're both married. She's got kids, young kids, and I don't know, but I think Vrabel is going to be looking for trouble with this. And, you know, a lot of this paparazzi stuff has played out this week in the media. There's more pictures than this. They got pictures of them laying by the pool together.
Wow.
They got pictures of them up on top of the patio of a very secluded, adult-only getaway place down in near Phoenix, where they were having their off-season owners meetings and head coach meetings, and they ran off 150 miles from there. It's not like they got caught in the motel downtown where they were meeting. These folks they drove 2.5 hours away. Now you tell me, where do you drive 2.5 hours away to meet up to allegedly do a video or an interview? I mean, what the hell was she doing? Was she talking to him about whether they're going to, you know, trade for A.J. Brown or what? I don't get it.
They're both getting honey. That's what they're doing.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Well,
So
and I was reading that it says a bunch of radio personalities, or at least some personalities, have been speculating on this for a while. That before these pictures came out, that was a rumor that's kind of going around the sports grapevine.
You know, I would have believed the whole deal if this would have been, you know, Stephon Diggs getting this on his boat. I would have seen all that. Maybe Mike Vrabel got rid of Diggs, so get him out of the way so he couldn't steal this. I don't know, but allegedly. So, you know, the statements come out. Here's a statement from Vrabel, you know, saying that the photos are completely innocent, interaction was innocent, suggests of anything else otherwise is laughable, and he doesn't deserve any more response. Well, I can tell you somebody that's going to get a response. His old lady's going to be getting a response of what the hell was going on with us.
And I'll tell you something. If it is going on, I bet his wife already knew about it well before we did. And you know, the blowback at this point, just allegedly, of course, with all of this, but I would think that the blowback would mostly be from the public perception of it at this point.
And as far as Rossini goes, you know, she's been on record in the past, really don't care for her husband anyways. But regardless of that, what really sucks in this is, I think, you know, first off, her kids, I feel sorry for because they're young kids. Her husband, who knows what adults do and why they do it. But I do feel bad for the kids, and I do feel bad for all the other women in the industry that bust their ass to do it right. You know, it's hard enough for these women to get positions like this broad's got in sports, and now she just made it even harder. You know, it just it's going to be interesting to see what the fallout is. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think she'll lose her job. I don't think Vrabel will. I definitely think he'll lose his wife, but I think she loses her job very soon.
Yeah, he won't, just because of what he's done with that team, and it's amazing how many scandals can pile up for an individual as long as they have the talent and the skill, whether it's a coach or a player. But you know, if he was on the periphery or, you know, doing a bad job or something else, then, you know, it might be a different story.
Yep. So that's going to kind of put a wrap on that deal there. I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. I want to plug the guys down here in Tampa at 95.7 WDAE down here in Tampa. They are a great sports radio. You guys can catch them on the iHeart app. You can get them anywhere in the world, basically. They run a very cool format. They got great local sports. They talk national sports. They put together a great crew. You got the morning show with Pat and Aaron down there. And then, Nick Wise, he comes in, he's running from noon to 2. And then, of course, Seacrest and Chris Mathis, they come on, and they just added a couple more producers. All great guys, great sports guys, great views, and a whole lot of fun. So you guys, this just isn't a local thing. You can catch these shows on iHeartRadio, WDAE. So definitely look them guys up. They're great folks to party with, great folks to talk sports with. Anything else that you're wanting to talk about, Rob, before I get into the Inner Circle Leagues contests that are going to be dropping before the draft? Couple league things we got to update, and then Jimbo's hot takes are yet to come. Anything else you want to add?
I'm totally geared up. I'm geeked out over the upcoming rookie class. I'm watching film. I'm watching all the film. I'm watching all the different takes from the different producers of content that focus primarily on Dynasty right now. I recommend everybody else look into it. Start brushing up on these guys. It's going to be your draft's going to be right around the corner, and just keep in mind that what you see right now, location is going to dictate a lot of the final player values. But it's good to know. It's good to know what the baseline is before we get there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting draft. I think it's going to be exciting. I think you're going to see some action taking place. A lot of teams in rebuilds that have multiple first-round picks. There's guys that have a first-round pick that are looking to add picks and move down. So I think you're going to see some action right off the bat in the draft. So I think it's going to be an exciting draft. I think there's enough, talented players that can start. I think there's definitely one running back that can start off the bat. I know there's been a lot of talk about Ty Simpson and where he's going to fall, if he's actually an NFL starter. Some think so, some think not. So, outside of Mendoza, and now we're not even assured Mendoza is going to start at this point with them bringing in Kirk Cousins, bringing in some of these veteran backups. I think some of these head coaches have kind of learned, and you're looking at some of their management are kind of old school type coaches to where they believe in sitting a guy. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Mendoza does sit, but it's going to be interesting. I'm confident he'll play, but just that it's a lock he's going to start, I don't know. So, really like what you just, said, Rob, I really think from a fantasy football standpoint, I would be more towards what your team needs long-term versus relying on some of these guys to be immediate starters. From a tight end position, you guys all know how I think about Sadiq the Freak. I think he's a starter in the NFL at tight end. I definitely think Love's a starter at running back. So where these quarterbacks fall and whether they get a chance or not, I think it's just, like you said, going to depend on the landing spot. So
and I would like to think NFL teams have learned by now, but especially with 1-year starters. But I think Simpson will be overdrafted in any case. It only takes one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these teams are really geared towards defense this year in the draft too. So
defense is the best part of this draft.
One other thing I wanted to hit on, Trent Williams from the 49ers, I'm hearing that Kansas City's really looking at him at offensive tackle. So, he's getting up there in age. He's on the wrong side of 30. I think he's 34, 35 in there. But I definitely think guys like Andy Reid, where they want to start protecting their quarterback. I mean, for crying out loud, Mahomes has had to run for his life for the last couple of years. So, I don't think there'll be, he's not a free agent. It definitely have to be a trade. So we'll see. I know they're monitoring it and waiting to see. A lot of these other guys, I think, are guys like A.J. Brown, like I've talked. I don't think you're going to see any movement on them until the June deadline. So it's interesting. I mean, a guy like Deebo Samuel, a free agent, I'm surprised he's still available. It blows my mind
Yeah,
that
Debo,
has been
Tyreek,
getting. Well, Tyreek, I understand because of the injury and
Juwan
just
Jennings.
yeah. Now Jennings, I don't get either. I would have really thought Jennings would have been gone by now.
Now I heard with Juwan Jennings that the sticker is for him is he's asking for too much money. I don't know about these other guys, but that's what I heard about Juwan.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, Debo, I think Debo's kind of come to the realization that he's, not that guy that he was at the 49ers.
You got to be a role player.
But I do think he's an asset. I mean, I think he'd be a great addition to the Raiders. I think he'd be, a great addition to the Miami Dolphins. There's guys that are hurting for wide receiver that I really think he could fit into their program. So it'd be interesting to see, but there's got to be a lot of dominoes fall. And I truly think, like I talked about last week,
I bet after the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these teams are waiting
because
for
you got
the draft
so many
to play
receivers
out.
in this draft.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. We'll see how many of them are up and ready to play. So we're going to talk a little bit more about wide receivers next week. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into Jimbo's hot takes. You guys all know how I am on my hot takes. You can take it, you can leave it, but my opinion, in my Jimbo's hot take is that for this week is going to feature the Miami Dolphins on the clock at number 11. Now the Dolphins are definitely in a rebuild. They just are in a rebuild. Period.
Yep.
Okay. So we got Achane in the backfield. They're still lacking a tight end. They're still lacking defensive cornerback. They got Tyreek released. They trade Waddle away, and just the picks alone that the Dolphins got. Okay, they got in the first round, they got the number 11 overall. They got the number 30 overall. In the second round, they got the 43rd overall. In the third round, they got the 75th, the 87th, the 90th, the 94th, and then in the fourth round, they got one pick at the 130. In the fifth round, they got the 151. In the seventh round, they don't have no 6 rounds. In the seventh round, they got the 227 and the 238. So they definitely got a lot of draft picks. So for a team in rebuild, I think they can be flexible. I think they can move down in the draft. Do they give up that number 11 pick? I don't think so. Jimbo's hot take this week is the Miami Dolphins at number 11 are going to take Denzel Boston. That's my hot take. I think Denzel Boston is going to go in there, replace the Tyreek, the Waddle, and I don't think that they can really afford – they probably could move back into the second and try to get an early round second. They may do that, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with my hot take. I think they take Denzel Boston in the first round at number 11.
And you got I've noticed a lot of analysts right now have started kind of crashing, after tape. A lot of people have started kind of meshing, Boston and Concepcion more with those other two from the top three. And Boston is that name that keeps coming up, as a first round pick, a big bodied, prototypical X receiver that can get it.
Yep. I truly think that I'm going to stick with that hot take there. So we're going to talk about something I don't have slides on for you guys, but something that we're doing in the Inner Circle Leagues this year is we are doing a contest before the draft. This is dropped in a couple of the Inner Circle Leagues. I will be dropping for those of you guys that are in those leagues and have seen that drop. The rules are pretty simple. The point system will also be posted and pinned. But, for instance, guys, one of these contests is where do you pick Ty Simpson to go? You need to pick what team he's going to, and you need to pick what round he's going to be picked in. The point system works. If you pick the team right, you get 10 points. If you pick what round he goes in, you get 20 points. Okay. The running back, Jeremiah Love, pick which team he gets, you get 10 points. If you pick right what round he goes in, you get 20 points. And then some of the other guys that are in that, the wide receiver in that contest is Carnell Tate from Ohio State. The tight end is Kenyon Sadiq, the freak. And then the defensive end is Akeem Mesidor, which is a stud. I think, he's definitely is a great end rusher. So if you pick which team he goes to and what round, you get the points. And then there's a bonus pick to where if you pick who is going to trade up and who's going to trade down, it has to be the two teams that make the trade. So in other words, if let's just say,
and the first team to do it.
Yes. Yep. You got to pick who is going to be the first one to make a trade in the first round. So it has to be the very first trade that is made in the draft, not if there's multiple and you get it right. It has to be the very first trade where someone trades up to get a pick, and you need to have the team right, the two teams you got to pick, and you also you will get 50 points if you get that correct. So you're going to name the team that makes that first trade in the draft, and you have to have both teams right to get the 50 points. So in other words, if you think like you, Rob, you think Dallas is going to trade up into the first round and trade to get that number 3 overall from Arizona, you would get your 50 points if you had it listed that way. And now, guys, that's been dropped in your leagues, so just copy and paste it, fill it out, post it in chat, and then I'll get it pinned, and we'll keep track of that. It'll make for, add a little bit of fun. The prizes are going to be announced the day of the draft. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised with some of the prizes we are giving away, thanks to our sponsors who have helped put all this together. And
that's awesome.
We got, a lot of things getting ready to happen between the DFS Advisor app and all the other things we're doing, the giveaways we did for the NFL draft. Those two guys are ecstatic. They're making plans already. They've been contacting me. They're so excited. So we got the NFL draft coming up. That's going to be something we're going to be talking about. We still have our redraft league that is open right now. It's filling up. I think we're 5 of 12 paid on that. Which is going to be
that's the Pirate League.
No, oh yeah, we got a Pirate League, but just a regular standard redraft is filling up right now. Okay. The Pirate League that we're going to do will be releasing sometime, I think, in June. And then we also have a chopped / guillotine league that's going to drop sometime in June. And then our last big one, our last $150 league where you pay all 3 years up front, which is the Gold Dynasty Inner Circle League. That's going to be drafting vets and rookies combined. That's going to, I think the deadline for paying on that is the day before the NFL draft, so we can get that filled. The redraft that's filling now, the deadline is coming up, I think, on the 10th or the 15th, one or the other. So much going on in my world with media, but so those are some leagues. You got any league announcements you're playing with?
Oh no, I just I don't have any that I'm personally launching, but I just drafted a dynasty best ball.
Okay,
that's the first one that I've drafted. I picked up a bunch of orphans from FFPC for it, but that was pretty fun. I'm looking forward to the Gold Dynasty. And we're doing tight end premium and like some extra flex slots or something for that one, right?
Yep. That's all. We're going to negotiate that once we get everybody together and everybody's getting excited. We'll start getting the chat room fired up and
so
get everybody.
I've done 5 startups so far since the beginning of the year, with ours being our inner circle being the first one that I did to start the year. And it's interesting to watch the progression as free agency has happened. And there's guys I was in on early, and now I can't. Now they've moved up 2 or 3 rounds, and
it's going to be interesting. The ADPs they changed in sleeper. Sleeper's ADP now back at the other place I was at. We used to do our own ADP. We had a guy in house that put all those numbers together based off our drafts. You know, we had so many leagues there that he
That's
had
amazing.
so much input to where we created our own ADP. Now, I don't know, last year they weren't able, you had to be, you know, part of that group to where you could tap into that on their website. You could go in and see what our own ADP was, and it was so different from ADP. So Sleeper's ADP changes daily, you know, not
Yeah,
daily,
I mean, it's
probably,
updated in the middle of drafts before, and
yeah, it just keeps moving.
I would caution people because you might have it set to tight end premium, and you might think it's showing you a tight end premium ADP, but I really question.
Right. So, all righty, Rob, I want to, send out a great thank you to you for coming on the show. It's so kind
Thanks
of
for
cool.
having me. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Anytime you want to be on the show. And guys, that goes for any of you guys in the Inner Circle DFS leagues, the DFS advisor leagues, any of you guys listening that aren't in any of those leagues. If y'all want to be on the show and come on and hang out and chat, have a beer, you sit down and chat football, baseball, basketball, whatever, it's available. The invite goes out to everybody. So, jump on. You guys know how to get a hold of me, whether it's a DM, phone number, text, however y'all want to, hit me up in the app or wherever and get on the show and we'll sit and start talking football. I know I'm getting excited for the draft to take place. It's always a big deal here in our house. So I'm looking forward to it. So thanks again, Rob. I appreciate you coming.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jimbo.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. That wraps up the show with Rob coming on as a guest. I'd like to send a big shout out to all the sponsors again. Guys, thanks so much for everything you do. Big shout out to my wife, Lisa. Thank you for all the support that you give me. You're the one that sees me in the background going through, stressing out, going through all the stuff we go through to keep this put together. It's great fun, but it is a lot of work, guys. And I'm pretty much a one-man show. We got some people kind of stepped back a little bit that are coming back. We look forward to Jay getting to where he can get back in the mix. I know he's going through a lot of issues, so we're working on it. We try to bring you the best product we can to have fun, number one. And always remember, we don't take a rake like a lot of the other folks out there. So come in, enjoy the fun, enjoy the giveaways. For crying out loud, there's 2 people on their way to the NFL draft thanks to Inner Circle Entertainment. So you guys have a good night. We'll see you Saturday night. We're back after Easter weekend was over. I hope you guys all had a good Easter, and we're looking forward to the NFL draft and looking forward to hanging out with y'all. So y'all have a good night. We'll see you later. Jimbo's out.